Hi everybody, welcome to Healthy Columbus Yoga. Today's practice is a little different. This is a complete relaxation practice using support for every single pose. So there are some extra props needed today. 2 blocks, definitely. A blanket or 2, or maybe a couple of beach towels, something that you can build up and make a little thicker if needed. And if you have a yoga bolster, definitely a bolster. Otherwise, 1 or 2 bed pillows or a couple of couch pillows will do the job as well. Every pose we do today will require resting against the props. This is a really terrific practice to take at the end of the day. Let's begin. I'm going to sit on a blanket for our first pose, so if you would like to as well, it's a much more comfortable way to settle in. And when you sit on your blanket or towel, make sure that it's not too thick just yet, but I invite you to sit forward. Let the hips be at the front of the support so that the knees can be a little more comfortably softening toward the floor. So before we get into our first pose, just like with every practice, let's begin by settling in. I invite you today to take a mudra. We've done this one before if you've joined us. Bring the hands together at the belly, interlacing fingers with the right thumb over the left. And then extend the pinky fingers forward and let them gently press against each other. Adi Mudra. Sit up nice and tall. As you exhale, let the eyes close or cast a soft downward gaze. Pull the head back over the shoulders. Lengthen up through the spine. Allow yourself a few breaths here to begin to let the day fall away. As we move through this practice together, I invite you to come home to yourself. Remember to have no expectations. Keep an open mind as you move through these gentle supported postures today, and just let what happens happen. Remember too that as you move into these supported poses, you may feel a little tightness or discomfort. Listen to the body. Send the breath to those areas of tightness and allow for release. Remember too, if you need to find a little movement or adjustment, please do. So take 3 full rounds of breath here. Breathe down into the belly, count up to 4. Exhale out to 6. Feel the body relaxing already. Inhale to 4. Exhale to 6. And 1 more breath, just like that. And release the hands. Take a moment here, gentle roll of the shoulders. And let's find our first supported pose. Remove the blanket from underneath you. And if you have a bolster, now's the time to find that bolster and bring it behind the back. So I'm seated right now with feet flat, knees bent. Bring the bolster to the base of the spine. And then take your blocks and bring one to either side. It's important to take your time to get into these poses, just to really find that right spot. Now we're all made differently, so you might have to play around with this a little bit, but from here, lie back against your support. Notice that this is going to create a gentle back bend, as well as a heart opener. Start here, and let yourself take 2 breaths right here with feet flat on the floor. Notice any tension in the back body. And then from here, if it's comfortable for you, let the soles of the feet come together, knees out to the sides, legs resting against the blocks. This is supported butterfly. And then from here, if you'd like, I invite you to inhale the arms up to the ceiling And as you exhale, bring the arms out to the sides. Maybe you feel yourself hugging against that bolster just a bit with the shoulder blades. Again, for the first 30 seconds or so, notice those areas of tension, tightness, and send the breath there. Let the eyes close, focus on the breath, and do what you can to release through the body. Soften down through the tailbone. Soften through the jaw. And when you hear the sound of my voice again, it will be time for us to slowly come out of the pose. Nothing yet to change. Take 3 full rounds of breath. Soften just a bit more. And then slowly begin to bring the right knee up to the ceiling as the right foot comes back to the floor. Carefully shift your hips to the right just a touch and bring the left forearm to the floor. Slowly roll over to the left side or the right if you're facing the camera that direction. Very, very slowly press yourself up to seated. Take time, notice how you feel. Move the blocks out of the way, legs long, and remove the bolster. Once you're here, sit up nice and tall. And it's okay to move the legs a little bit wider. And then from here, gently as you exhale, twist to the left. Bring Bring the right hand outside of the left leg. Look over the left shoulder. No need to press into this twist. This is a gentle counterbalance. Keep the face soft. Inhale, look forward. And exhale, twist to the other side. Look over the right shoulder. And then exhale, look forward. And let's move to caterpillar pose. Caterpillar pose requires quite a lot of props. So there are several options for setup here, and I'll take you through them. Basically what this is a very releasing forward fold. So first of all, if you feel tight in the hamstrings, find something to place under the knees. In this case, I'll use my blanket, gently rolled so that there's a little more bend in the knees. And find your sits bones as well. So let yourself sit forward a little bit in the pelvis, support the knees. You don't have to root strongly through the heels here. You're just letting the legs softly fall. It's okay to have a little external rotation of the feet and legs as well. From here, find whatever pillow or bolster you're using. And the idea here is that you simply want to relax out over that support. Now for me, I'm going to bring the bolster nice and long. If you find that you can't make it very far forward, that doesn't matter. You're welcome to take a block and then your hands, just something to rest on here. So again, take a moment, decide what height you need to build, what the most comfortable leg support is, and we'll go from here. So as you feel ready, soften, and when we move through this time, you might even find after a minute or so that you can remove some of the supports to fold a little deeper. So on an exhale, let yourself go. You can turn the head to one side or keep the forehead at the pillow. Breathe deeply into the back body and soften through the shoulders. Soften through the jaw. When you hear the sound of my voice again, we'll slowly begin to come out of the pose. Nothing yet to change. Breathe into the back body. Notice sensation through the hips, backs of the legs. 2 more full rounds of breath. And then on the 3rd inhale, slowly begin to roll back up to seated. Gently move your props out of the way. Remove whatever might be under the knees. Bring the legs slightly together. And then as you inhale, let the hands come behind the back, fingers pointing behind you, palms pressed to the mat. And then on your next inhale, look up, squeeze the shoulder blades together, gentle back bend. Big breath into the chest. And then as you exhale, sit up and start to bend the knees, bring feet flat to the floor. Step them a little further apart if that's more comfortable. Hug the knees in. Sit up tall. Exhale, tuck the chin. Inhale, look up. Exhale, look forward. On your next exhale, look over the left shoulder. Nice straight spine. Soft breath. Inhale, look forward. And exhale, right shoulder. Inhale, forward. Good. So notice as we finish each pose, there is a counter pose, but it's never extreme one end or the other. This is all about softening through the muscles and the myofascial tissue, finding some release, especially at the end of a long day. Let's continue. This next pose is called Sphinx. For this pose, there are, again, several ways to find your comfort level. So the first thing I recommend is taking your blanket or your blanket or towel, and I'm going to bring mine actually rather thin, and place it underneath the hips. So you'll come down onto your belly, with the hips supported by the blanket, and Sphinx Pose is a rest on the forearms. Now, if you find that this is too much of a back bend, you can support yourself even a little bit more by perhaps thickening through the blanket, finding a little more ease. So it's up to you. Come to the forearms with elbows underneath the shoulders. Fingers spread wide, but no great action here. So nice relaxed spread of the fingers. And notice the foot placement. I'm moving my feet a little further apart. Oftentimes in Sphinx Pose, we zip the legs together, but we're looking for a gentle release today. So again, another option here is to find a block to place underneath the head. Or if you like, you can simply exhale and soften into Sphinx. Let the head hang, chest between the shoulder blades. Let the eyes close. Breathe into the back body. Invite the legs to begin to soften and maybe even fall outward a bit. Imagine letting the hips sink just a little bit closer to the earth. And when you hear my voice again, we'll slowly begin to come out of this. Nothing yet to change. Two deep breaths into the belly, into the hips. And then as you inhale, lift the head, and as you exhale, look over the left shoulder, down toward the foot, tucking the chin. Inhale, head back to neutral, and exhale to the opposite side. Inhale, head back to center. And from here, start to slide the palms down underneath the ribs. Move the knees wide. And press yourself back to extended child's pose with the arms reaching forward. Perhaps the head comes to the blanket or even a block. And this is the next pose, so the back will remain nice and long, no rounding. Find your comfortable supported position and soften in. Breathe into the back body. Three more full rounds of breath here. And then inhale, lift the head and gently press up to tabletop pose and remove any support underneath you. Take a moment here in tabletop. Deep breath. Notice how you feel. And from here, lower to one hip or the other. Legs out in front of you. We're moving to a pose called Supine Supported Deer. And this can be a little bit of a challenge, so please remember as we move into and spend time in this pose, if you feel that you've had enough time in this pose, carefully bring yourself out of it. You can lie flat on your back. This is a side pose, so there is a bit more challenge to it. We're going to support just at the top of the hip, that lovely curve at the waist. So you can either roll your support or fold your blanket, but probably you're going to have to play around with this a little bit. Just decide what height is going to be the most comfortable, but we're looking for a little press in of the hip. So I'm on my left side, both knees are bent. Bring the left knee in even a little bit closer. You almost want your thigh parallel to the top of the mat. And then start to extend the left arm forward so that you're actually finding some space between the ribs as you lie down on the left side. And again, that blanket or towel should feel pretty good. It might feel a little resistance at first, but we're going to spend time to breathe into it. And then extend that top leg a little bit longer. And then just let yourself soften onto the left arm. Definitely a new sensation. And then once you feel like you can settle into this pose, I invite you to extend the right arm alongside the ear and bring the palms together. Again, finding that space between the ribs, really lengthening, extending. And if this is too much on the top shoulder, that's all right. Just bring the right arm alongside the body. Either way is perfectly acceptable. Let the eyes close. And again, when you hear my voice, we'll come out of it. From here, bring your top hand to the mat, somewhere near the chest. Pause for a moment. And then slowly bring the top knee in. Begin to press yourself back up to a seated position. Notice you'll be in sort of a side angle here. Pause a moment. Never a hurry to get out of these poses. You are welcome to remain right where you are and simply shift your knees to the right side. I'm going to switch direction though. So my hope is that once you've moved through this yin practice, that you will return to it time and again, and you may find every time that you need a different kind of prop. So perhaps the day will come where you'd like a little more height in the hips. I hope that happens for you, just that you can play around with these poses many times and find this lovely release. So again, to the other side now. Make sure that that blanket is at the right height for you. Begin to extend the right arm very long, make space between the ribs, keep the knees bent for now. Once you've found your comfortable spot, let that top leg extend any amount, hopefully feeling a nice stretch in this hip, especially after what we just did. And then again, perhaps the top arm extends as well so that the palms come together, finding that length in the side bodies. Big breath as you soften in. Let gravity do its job. Let the eyes close. And spend time here in supine supported deer. 2 more deep breaths. Let the top hand come to the mat, somewhere near the chest. Bring the knees in and slowly press yourself up. Especially if you feel a little dizzy as you sit up, it's very important to move slowly. Again, let gravity do its job. So move that blanket out of the way. And then from here, find your pillows or bolster once again. If you're in the same position, your right thigh is parallel to the top of the mat. That's right where I'd like you to stay. So take your bolster and pull it down toward the right hip. And then bring your hands to either side of the bolster so that the torso turns toward the floor. Knees bent, this adds comfort. And then from here, you may have to build up again. So decide what's going to be best for you, but we're just gonna let ourselves drape across that support, that pillow. So maybe walk the hands forward a little bit and slowly start to bring the torso down to rest. Some of you might choose to have a block or a blanket near the head. And then bring your hands either to the bolster, turning the head to the same direction as the knees, or let the hands rest at the sides of the bolster. But again, draping across, lengthening, turn the head to one side. And once you're here, soften through the shoulders, make sure they're not scrunched up by the ears. You can bring the top leg out just a bit. And take a very concentrated deep breath here. So breathe deeply into the back body, big inhale. Exhale, begin to soften down through the entire body, let everything go. Soft jaw. Let the hips grow heavy. Focus on the breath. Let go. Three more rounds of breath on this side. Slowly begin to lift the head and slide the palms down the sides of the pillow near the ribs. Gently press up as you inhale. Pause here. And then slowly begin to turn so that the bolster will be at the low back. Once you're here, hug the knees in. Bring the feet a little wider and just pull yourself close to the knees. Sit up tall for a moment. Soften the shoulder blades. And then lower your knees to the other side. Again, I will turn around. Knees to the side. Make sure that the bottom thigh is parallel to the top of the mat. And start to turn the torso so that the hands are at either side of your support. Squaring yourself over the bolster as best you are able. Lengthen down on the exhale. Turn the head to the same direction as the knees. And you may even find that your support underneath is different from side to side. Maybe this is the side you need to build up or lower. Make sure that top leg has room on the mat rather than on the bottom leg. Soften the shoulders down away from the ears. Breathe into the back body and begin to let go. Notice any tension that you might be holding in the face, the jaw, the hands. Soften down through the entire body. Release. Three more full rounds of breath. And then start to pull the hands back. Lift the head, press up slowly, slowly. Move the bolster out of the way. Come back to your bum. Let the legs cross. Just sit up for a moment. Hands to the knees, let the eyes close. And again, notice how you feel. Wonderful. And so from here, we're going to set up for our final pose, which also incorporates Shavasana. So there are several ways to set up for Shavasana, but today I offer you something new. Maybe it's new to you. So take your two blocks, bring them to the floor behind you. Stand the first one tall and make the other one long. So it's like you're making an L shape. And then take your bolster or pillows and let them lean against the blocks, okay? That's first. Then from here, a couple options for your blanket. One option is to create a little bit of a platform underneath the hips, just below the bolster. Some people really like the way this feels as you lie across the bolster. Another option is to just sit flat on the floor, and we'll use this in a moment. So from here you can actually take your blanket and make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to open mine up to about a quarter of what it is on full extension and roll that blanket. And this will come in handy in just a moment. Lie back on your bolster. Let yourself descend softly and slowly. Many options here for the legs. So the first option is simply feet flat, knees bent. Letting the arms rest alongside the body, forearms to the floor, chest open, shoulder blades soft. Option 2, if you would like, is to take that rolled blanket, wrap it around the ankles, creating a little platform here so that as your knees fall out to the sides, you have a little extra support. And if you're comfortable bringing the hands to belly, that might feel nice too. So whatever the position, allow the body to go, soften, release. Bring attention to the top of the head. And on the next inhale, allow relaxation to travel down through head and face. Release down through throat, neck, shoulders, collarbones. Soften down through the arms, hands. Soften down through the entire mid-body and settle into the hips. Release down through the legs, feet. Ride the gentle wave of the breath. And Shavasana. Let yourself remain here for as long as you choose today. Let the thoughts float past as clouds. Allow yourself time to release, to let go. Whenever you feel ready, whether it's now or in 10 minutes, take all the time that you need to slowly roll out of this pose. From here, either gently coming back to the day or perhaps rolling right into bed. Thank you for joining me today, and I wish you